Hello everyone and welcome aboard the Carnival Venezia for today's ship tour. We're going to go ahead and start up all the way up on deck 15 forward and zigzag our way down. So let's go ahead and jump into the Serenity Adults Only area. And as we get started, of course, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed today's tour and subscribe for all the upcoming Venezia content. As mentioned, Serenity is the adults only area here on the Carnival Venezia. Here we have a look at the Serenity Bar. And of course, we have several hot tubs here in the area, along with plenty of loungers and even some of the clamshell chairs if you can get those early enough throughout the day, as those typically do fill up the quickest. But anyways, this is really all that's on deck 15. It's a bit of a smaller deck as we're all the way forward on the ship. But as you come out through this little gate here that, sections it off, we have a look at some of the water slides here on the Venezia. Those are technically up on 16. You'll just have to go to that set of stairs over on the other side to get in there. But gives you a very, very cool look at the ship. And of course, just a quick look up on where you actually enter those water slides up on deck 16 forward. Very cool views up here. We're going to skip down to deck 12. On the inside of the ship, we have the Cloud9 Spa and Fitness Center. So if you want to do some exercising throughout your cruise, head on up here, or maybe you want to get a massage, that too. Just another look at those water slides down here on deck number 12, as there is no 13 and 14 forward. Above that spa is, of course, a couple cabins. So nothing much going on 14 forward, but we're going to make our way back here on deck number 12. This is just the sun deck, basically, area where you got all of these loungers. It's very wide through here, which I thought was really good, because you do have the jogging track, of course, which is what we are walking down. Skipping up to deck 14 again, so 14 is kind of split up on this ship, but we have part of the mini golf course and a look at the ropes course here on the Venezia. The ropes course is free of charge, so no need to pay anything when you come up here. It's not a paid attraction, but the ropes course is lots of fun. You can go around as many times as you want, and of course you can get some incredible views of the ship, just like this one. Moving back to deck number 12, we have the bottom portion of that mini golf course that we just saw. It looks like there's about 5 holes here and about 4 more up on 14 there. You also have cornhole and just a few other small little activities. But if you continue on, you got a look at the ropes course here from below, and the video arcade is going to be found here on deck number 12 here on the Venezia. Arcade is a pretty good size here on this ship. Of course, you have like the little motorcycles, the racing simulators, claw machines, all sorts of stuff you can find here in this arcade. So looks like a really fun time if you're somebody that likes to go to the arcade, waste some money. Moving on back, we have the basketball court as we continue our way back on the jogging track here. The basketball court is, of course, down on deck 11. It has this really unique and cool sunk in feeling to the deck, so that's really cool. They also have pickleball during the mornings, which is always fun. And of course, down on deck 11, we have a look at the actual basketball court from down below. Deck 11 midship, we have a look at Camp Ocean. This is the outdoor section of it. If you just head inside the little elevator bank that's on the other side of here, you would be able to enter in from there. But continuing on forward, we're going to head into the main pool deck area as we have a bar right here. This is one of my favorite spots on this ship because this area right here, because of the unique styling, it felt like it was almost indoors. And of course, we have a look at the pool deck itself and its really unique Venetian styling. Really, really loved it. But as you can see, continuing on, just the way the ceiling is and all the games and things like that on the inside, it really did feel like an indoor yet outdoor space at the same time. And of course, Venezia is unique in the fact that it does have a retractable roof over the main pool deck rather than the aft like some of the older Carnival ships have. So this really could turn into an actual indoor space depending on the weather and just if they want to use it or not. Continuing forward though, of course, just further goes into why I think this kind of feels like a indoor space as well. Just the styling and all the couches and everything like that. But we're going to skip down below to the Java Blue Cafe here on deck number 10. This is in the front section of the main pool area. But if you want to get your specialty coffee, head on over to Java Blue Cafe. And right across from there, we have Rococo, which is the Red Frog rum bar, but with the Italian Costa by Carnival spin to it. So Rococo is essentially Red Frog rum bar if you're familiar with Carnival. And of course, here we have the main pool itself with the staircases heading up to deck number 11. We're going to continue on back though. We have El Tomodoro, which if you're familiar with Carnival, again, this is going to be where you would find Blue Iguana Cantina. This is just that Costa by Carnival spin to it, as it has some Italian stuff. So all the things you would love about Blue Iguana Cantina, but you would also find things like a meatball sub, which is pretty interesting. Guy's Burger Joint, of course, no explanation needed. This is the famous burger joint here on every single Carnival ship. And of course, being Costa by Carnival, this does have a few specialty burgers, but one cool thing I found was this Monfalcone sign here, which of course is actually the name of the shipyard where this is built in Fincantieri. So that specific location. But moving on, we have the Lido Marketplace. This is of course your main buffet area. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you can always find something up here on the Lido Marketplace. Plenty of seating as well, and I loved the unique styling as well, just with all the leaves that you can see on some of the pillars there, and some of the design choices I thought was really neat, as you don't normally get that on a lot of Carnival ships. But moving all the way to deck number 10 aft, where we have the Seafood Shack. This is a pay-to-eat restaurant. This is, of course, seafood, and you can see up on the menu, if you're able to pause it there and look in, but those are the prices there as well. And of course, we have the aft pool area. If you want to take a swim out in the back, maybe you don't want to be in that main pool area, come on back to the aft pool. You have 2 hot tubs on each side and plenty of loungers as well if you want to relax on a nice, beautiful sea day like today. And of course, you can't miss out on that aft pool bar either. So if you want to grab yourself a drink while you're hanging out back here, great place to do it. Moving on to Pizzeria del Capitano, of course, Carnival's famous pizza joint, always open, and grab yourself a slice of pizza if you want to hang out back here. Or maybe that's just what you want. You didn't find anything in the buffet. The only thing found here on deck number 9 is, of course, the secret deck. This is where you can actually access the bridge wings that give you this beautiful look down the side of the ship, and that's, of course, on each side. You can access this forward area on every deck from 5 all the way up to, I believe it's 11, of course, with the exception of deck number 8 where the bridge is. But, of course, deck number 9 is the only one where you're actually going to be able to stand out on the wings here and look down the side of the ship. You get some incredible views down the side of the ship and, of course, forward as well as you look at the bow of the ship here in this shot. But, of course, this was my favorite spot just to watch sailways, watch us come in. You get some really cool vantage points of this ship. Anyways, everything else between here and deck number 6 is going to be staterooms, so we're going to skip down to deck number 5 for Teatro Rosso. This is the main theater you're going to find here on deck number 5 forward, and of course the bottom level is deck number 4. All the main production shows are going to happen, as well as bingo and a few other things. They even had comedy in here a couple nights throughout the cruise. We're going to start making our way towards the atrium here on deck number 5, but first we do have one of the several gift shops that are on board. This is the non-carnival merchandise, so a lot of beach stuff that you're going to find here at Hipfish Apparel. And speaking of the atrium, here we have a look at the main atrium here on deck number 5 as we look down on 4 and number 3 into that atrium bar that we'll get to in just a moment. That Venetian theme that we have throughout the pool deck, of course, continues on through the interior. But here we have the beauty gift shop where you can find makeup, perfumes, colognes, anything like that. Cloud 9 actually has a little beauty salon down here in the atrium as well. And then, of course, the FE jewelry store. So if you want to grab a watch, purse, just luxury items, you can find that here in the FE jewelry store. Moving on back though, here we have Banzai Teppanyaki. This is the Japanese hibachi grill that you can find on board the ship. This is a specialty restaurant, so you do have to pay for it. I did have this on our first sea day, and I have to say it was phenomenal. I think the pricing was somewhere around $35 to $40 for a lunch, and it was about $10 more for dinner, so about $45 to $50 to my knowledge. Across from Banzai, we have the Piano Bar 88. This is, of course, just some live music if you want to just hang out and chill throughout the night with some live music. Continue on back, though, we have this little tiny atrium with Banzai Sushi, which is just separate from the teppanyaki. If you want to just grab yourself some sushi, you can here at Banzai Sushi. Across from there, we have Fahrenheit 555. This is Carnival's signature steakhouse if you want to grab yourself a fancy steak dinner. And then across from there, we have one of the Costa by Carnival exclusives here. This is Amari. This is actually in replacement of the Alchemy Bar. This is just their quote-unquote Costa version of the Alchemy Bar, which is, of course, a Carnival favorite. So definitely come by, have yourself a custom cocktail to your liking, and enjoy the vibes. Moving on back, and as you can tell, this is going to be a lot of just bars, lounges, and restaurants here on deck number 5. But we're continue on back to this just little seating area right outside El Viaggio, which is the Italian restaurant on board, which is, of course, the Costa by Carnival variant of Cucina del Capitano. So if you want a Italian night or an Italian specialty restaurant, then definitely check this out. Of course, and right outside there we have Frizzante, which is just the Italian themed bar that's outside, of course, the Italian specialty restaurant. So these two make a really good pair. Grab yourself a little cocktail before you head in for your dinner at Il Viaggio. Here we have Hip Fish sunglasses, just a tiny little closet almost that just sells a bunch of sunglasses. And then moving on back, of course, we have the Pixels photo gallery. If you have any photos taken throughout your cruise, come on here, just tap one of these tablets, put in your information, and you can look up all of your digital photos. And of course, if you want them printed out, you can just request that and they will do that for you. Moving on back to this lounge here, this is where they held a lot of trivia and as well as even karaoke throughout some of the nights. So if that's something that you're interested in, this is a really cool spot just to hang out. And then there is a bar off to the side here. So if you want to grab a drink right before some karaoke, sounds like a pretty good time to me. So head on over to this bar, grab yourself a drink, and have a good time. As you go into this lounge, though, there is a small little tiny buffet style area. It looks like it is a pay to eat, but it looks like they had some pretty cool options on their menu. And all the way in the back here on deck number 5, we have the Carnival Bar and Lounge. This is, of course, the Costa by Carnival version of the Havana area that we find on Vista, Horizon, and Panorama. Of course, this is a exclusive area, so there are wristbands required beyond this point, but at night it does open up, and of course on embarkation day, so of course the whole lounge is accessible at night though, but if you want to check all this out, definitely come on embarkation day and check out this area because it is very, very nice. And if you head on outside, of course, you will notice that there is no main pool like the Havana area has, but there are hot tubs that we'll get to in a moment. Lots of chairs, eggshells to lounge in. So very nice, quiet, and relaxing area for those who have the Terrazza Carnival staterooms. But as you can see, there's even some couches along the back wall. And then, of course, as it appears behind this little curtain here, we have the hot tub. So one each side, just like that. And then, of course, as you continue to the other side, we'll get to the Cabana style staterooms, which, of course, these are just like the Havana Cabanas. Sorry for the shaky footage. This wasn't on other camera, but nonetheless a very cool and unique style of room. I did have one of the Havana Cabanas on the Carnival Horizon, and it was one of my favorite rooms that I've ever stayed in. There is still plenty to do down here on deck number 5 as we take a look down the side of the ship. There is a lot of just relaxation areas, lots of tables, chairs, things to do throughout, and a lot of the specialty restaurants that we were looking at on the inside of deck number 5. For example, we'll get to in a moment for Fahrenheit 555. Have outdoor seating sections, and of course these were some really nice couches that were blocked off by those little partitions there, so lots of really cool spots to hang out down on deck number 5. And of course this here is Fahrenheit 555, again the outdoor section of that steakhouse. So if you want to, if it's a beautiful night, definitely try this out. Continuing on forward though, here's just another example of all of the places you can just relax out here on deck number 5. I think those people in front of us were hiding ducks because we just found one here in that little grass leaf partition, but really cool little loungers there. Anyway, skipping on to deck number 4, we have the port side, which is the liquor store here on board the ship, and a look at the deck number 4 section of the grand atrium here on the Carnival Venezia. Moving on forward though, we have some other shopping throughout the deck and a look at the candy store on board, cherry on top. You're going to find that on pretty much every Carnival ship. This is just your typical candy store. And you can even get like some stuffed animals and just other small little merchandise, but mostly candy here. And then moving on to one of my personal favorites, of course, we have the Carnival Fun Store or the Carnival Store, where you can find your ship models. I have about 91 of these. I think Venezia was 91 in my collection, so crazy. I need to do an update on that soon. But regardless, t-shirts, pillows, all sorts of stuff with a Carnival logo on it or a funnel on it, you're going to find it here on deck 4 and the fun shops. Moving on back, though, we have the casino. This is, of course, the casino. Gamble away if you want to and try to either lose some money or win some money. Who knows? Maybe you'll get lucky. Moving on back, though, we have the Heroes Tribute Bar. This is, of course, Carnival's way to pay tribute to veterans and things like that by theming a bar around those who served our country. Moving on back, though, after that, we have the Limelight Lounge. This is another place where they're going to hold some of the comedy shows at night here on board the Carnival Venezia. And moving on back all the way the back of deck number 4, we have the Canal Grand Restaurant. This is the anytime dining that you can find here on the Venezia. And of course, it has the signature gondola in the middle of it. That is a huge gondola and really, really cool. But we're going to skip back to the front of the ship in the main atrium. Here we have Carnival Adventures. This is the shore excursion desk. So if you want to either go up to one of those agents there at the desk, or you can even come up to one of these tablets and get yourself a shore excursion for one of your ports. Here we have the atrium bar, of course, the signature piece of the atrium. Grab yourself a drink and hang out down here. And on the opposite side of that shore excursion desk, on the other side of the atrium, we have the guest services desk. If you need anything throughout your cruise, any issues, definitely come over here and talk with them. They'll get everything fixed up here for you. And then we have the Marco Polo restaurant. This is our final stop here on our ship tour. Marco Polo is the assigned time dining. So if you have a set dining time, then this is where you would come for dinner. Only one floor here compared to the 2 levels of Canal Grand that we were at just a moment ago. Canal Grand is the your time dining, so if that's where you want to make a reservation and go in anytime you want, then that's where you would go. If you have the assigned time dining, you would come here to Marco Polo. That's going to do it for our tour today of the beautiful Carnival Venezia. If you enjoyed today's tour, make sure you leave a like and subscribe for all the upcoming Carnival Venezia content and daily vlogs throughout my 7-night cruise to the Eastern Caribbean on board this incredible ship. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.